Ladies and gentlemen, you have just been entertained by a very talented lady who was the organist at Dodger Stadium for 28 years in Los Angeles. And it is a great pleasure to say hello to my longtime friend, Nancy Bea Hefley.
Hi,
Nancy,
Ross.
how are you, dear?
I'm doing pretty good.
Well, good for you. I guess you're just relaxing at your home in Nevada,
Trying to.
huh?
You
Do
know,
you
it gets harder as you get older.
Well, I guess so. I guess so. Well, we just heard you playing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and
I've
I
done
did a
that
little
a few
math.
times.
I did a little math last night, and I came away with the fact that you must have played that song on the organ close to 2,500 times. And there is a fascinating history to that song. And Nancy B, I'm sure you know it, but I want to tell the fans what really happened in that whole situation. And so just stay with me as I tell the story, if you will. In 1908, a songwriter named Jack Norworth got on a train in New York, and the train took him by the Polo Grounds, which was the home of the baseball giants. And as he looked out the window, he saw a marquee sign which said, "Game today." Well, a light went on in his head, and he reached inside his coat pocket, pulled out a scrap paper, a pencil, and in less than an hour, Jack Norworth wrote the lyrics to "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." He then took that lyric sheet and gave it to his friend, Albert von Tilzer, who was a music composer, and von Tilzer was the one who put the music to it. And it was so popular when it came out in 1908 that they said the only song who was heard more that year was the national anthem. But here is the surprising fact. When Norworth and von Tilzer combined to make that record, neither man had ever seen a Major League Baseball game. It was 20 years later before von Tilzer attended his first game, and 32 years before Norworth saw his first one. And one more note, Jack Norworth is buried a half a mile from Angel Stadium in Anaheim.
Really? Today, he would be a very rich man with royalties, but there were no such things in those days.
No. Well, let's talk to our guest. You've always been known as Nancy Bea Hefley, never just Nancy Hefley. When did that originate?
Well, it originated, the Bea was my mother's sister's nickname, and it was very special to her. And I went by Nancy Bea all through my high school and school years. And then as an adult, I thought I was so smart, and I dropped the Bea. Then one Mother's Day at the ballpark, I got very, very sentimental and was missing my mother. And I said, okay, I will be Nancy Bea again.
Yeah.
And that's how it became about.
BEA, Nancy
Right.
Bea Hefley. Yeah. You grew up in the Los Angeles area, born in San Pedro, and you began playing the piano at 4
Right,
by listening to your 17-year-old sister.
right. My sister didn't appreciate that, but yes.
Well, when you were 7 years old, you were playing the accordion. And who taught you about that musical instrument?
Well, we had moved to Fontana because my other sister was very ill. And so we moved to that area. And the piano teacher there didn't suit my mother very much. So she said, well, I'm going to get you a little accordion. And I said, what's an accordion? And that's how the accordion came about.
Oh, you had a piano teacher. And when you were 13, you persuaded the teacher to teach you the basics of the organ.
She did not want to do that. Absolutely did not want me to become an organist. But she showed me how to keep my hands smooth and learn the pedals. And I got about 6 organ lessons.
Wow. And you had it, huh?
Yeah.
For more than 55 years, you played the organ at Bellflower Baptist Church. Boy, that was quite a commitment where you have to be there every Sunday morning and maybe Sunday night and Wednesday night.
Right. I played there. That's where my husband and I met and were married. And we were together for 62 years until he passed 3 years ago. So it kind of lasted okay.
Wonderful man, Bill Hefley. Nancy B, I'm curious. Did you ever play the piano or the accordion again publicly after you became an organist? And do you now?
I play, I've had some funny things happening at the church here lately. Our pastor's wife is the pianist there, and she had another baby. So I filled in. She does the hymns and I do a solo on the organ. Well, I did the hymns also on the organ, and then went to do the solo on the organ and I had no power. So I switched over and did the number on the piano. So the next week I rehearsed on the organ and sure enough, no power. So I had to do it on the piano. So I thought, okay, I've got this. I'm going to rehearse on the piano and I'll do this one on the piano. Well, that week I had power. So I had to play it on the organ. So I think God has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
He showed me I could do it on the piano. Okay.
Do you play the accordion or the piano at all?
The last time I played the accordion was when my accordion teacher's 99th birthday. We went to a thing and there were accordionists from all over that joined in a group and played. And that's the last I've played.
And the
I
piano?
haven't played it for quite a while. I
What
play the
about
piano still.
the piano you play more regularly?
No, and I'm more comfortable on the organ from all the years of playing it.
That's very interesting you'd bring that up. What is the big difference in playing the piano and playing the organ?
There's quite a different technique. On the organ, my feet take the bass notes, and the left hand is on the lower manual, and I have it at a lower volume. The upper manual does the melody. I have a little keyboard that I do the solo sounds on. So it's quite a different, and when you switch to the piano, it's all on one keyboard and the piano hands are doing everything.
Wow. Well, among the other venues besides Dodger Stadium where you have entertained people playing the organ, Orange County Fair, Pomona Fair. You also did some horse shows too, didn't you?
About 40 years ago, yes, all
Wow.
over the Western US, from Arizona to Monterey to Santa Barbara. Yes,
How did you have an agent who lined those all up for you?
no, I never had an agent all
But
those years, just word of mouth. Someone would hear me and say, we do a show here, would you be interested? And off we would go with our truck and an organ and do the show.
well, your great reputation preceded you, didn't it? Hey, you even went to Las Vegas. You went to Lake Tahoe.
Now,
Yeah.
Lake Tahoe and Las Vegas were accordion.
Oh,
That
was
was
it?
in my accordion years.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, that was in the 50s.
Were you on the strip in Las Vegas at any time?
I was in the Riviera and the Desert Inn.
Wow. How long did that last?
Well, I was with a violin group and we're at the Riviera for a month. And then we went to Lake Tahoe, the Cal Neva, back in the Cal Neva days.
Yeah.
And we were there 2 weeks. And
Mm.
then I had to come back and do the Date Festival in India, which I did for 28 years.
Wow.
And then I went back with another group to the Desert Inn and I had to leave that to do the day festival. So then I decided I didn't want to go back.
Have you ever figured out how many different appearances you have made?
No, I really should do that sometime.
It's got to be in the thousands, doesn't it?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
starting at a very young age, I was playing at 5
Yeah.
on
Oh, wow.
radio.
In the mid 1980s, you filled in for a friend as the organist for Angel Games, and you were so popular, they offered you a job, but you turned it down. Why?
Because I filled in for a friend. I don't take jobs away from a friend. And I feel so good that that's the way I handled that.
Well, that's a wonderful sign of your integrity. Helen Dell retired as the Dodger Stadium organist after the 1987 season. Now, before the 1988 season, you were given an audition at Dodger Stadium before an exhibition game between the Dodgers and USC. How did that all come about?
Well, I had heard that Helen was retiring in 1987, and I was busy at the horse show at the Pomona Fair. So I contacted them and they said, well, come in and audition or send a tape. What happened to be at a break where I could break away from the show and make up a tape and send it. So then they said, Steve Brenner said, come and play at the stadium. So I played at the stadium. So then they said, well, you're on a definite callback. Well, I had these contracts coming in for horse shows, and I didn't know whether to accept them or what was going to happen. So I kept saying, am I on the definite list? And I kept bugging them. Yes, you're on the list. And so they said, finally, Christmas Eve, they said, there are 3 of you that are going to be playing back to back for this exhibition game. And so there were 3 of us. USC band was supposed to do the anthem, and that turned out they didn't do it. So we drew straws and I got the anthem. So then I took the first 3 innings. Then another fellow took 3 and so on. And then they called when I got home and said, you got the job.
Wow. Did you pre-plan a program for the audition?
No, I never do. I don't usually, I fly by the seat of my pants.
And you have said, because I've heard you say this, you try to come up with something that takes place on the field, don't you?
Yes, I react, not interact. I pretty well go by what is going on and play accordingly.
Yeah.
Or did.
What type of music did you play that day? Did you go pop tunes and rock songs and older and more commonly played numbers?
Well, this was in the 80s, so I was playing songs from the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as we said, you were the Dodgers organist for 28 seasons, starting in 1988, which just happened to be the year that the team won the World Series.
Notice my necklace?
Yeah. Let's see that necklace.
Look familiar?
Sure
88
is.
World Series
Sure
necklace?
does. Sure does.
88 World Series necklace.
Nancy B., you said that you missed 8 Dodger games in the first 25 seasons. I didn't have the last 3 years. What was your total?
Oh, I think I made it up to maybe 12.
Wow.
Because I got a little bit more lax at the end.
Well, you played the organ in what we call the old ballpark style that I think that most fans really miss at Dodger Stadium today.
I don't know if they miss it or not, but that was my style. There was no way I could really change it to suit anyone else.
How many pieces of music could you play, and how many did you play, do you think?
When they asked me in the beginning how many I knew, I decided to sit down and figure out what songs I could play without music. and it came out to 2000.
Oh, my goodness.
And
Wow.
and then discovered by playing at church that I also know quite a few church songs, that are not in that count.
But you say you never planned your songs.
No, and I never used music.
Huh.
There was never a sheet of music on the rack at all.
Let me ask you this, because you hear this from people. He or she played music by their ear. Is that common?
Well, a lot of people that play by ear don't play by music. I'm fortunate I can do both. I could read. In fact, in the day, I could sight read very well. But I could also go, for instance, in '88, I went to see Les Miserables. That was very popular then. And I picked up the song Master of the House, which became Hershire's theme song. And that I did by ear, by hearing it at the studio. So that's playing by ear.
That was the song that Vin Scully always liked you to play, didn't
Right,
he?
right.
And was that because did you start that because of the umpires meeting at home plate?
I did.
Before the game?
Right.
And so you did that before you did it with Oral when he had his record 59 consecutive scoreless inning streak, huh?
Right. Then he picked up that, and he picked up that it was Oral's song. I was using it for the umpires because they're pretty much in control. But
did they ever thank you for that?
The umpires, I don't think so.
All right, now not counting the national anthem and Take Me Out to the Ball Game, what would you think was the tune you played more than any other?
Well, probably the Master of the House because of Oral. Other than that, I tried to really not repeat a lot. I tried to keep a variety and use different songs.
Yeah, there's Oral in the picture with you. One of the last nights you were
right. That was my retirement night.
That's wonderful. Did you have a song for every Dodger player when he came to bat?
They wouldn't allow me to play for when they came to bat.
Really?
Those days, I don't know if you remember, but in those days you could only play when they came up to bat the first time, and it was very strict. I could either play a charge or clapping at that point, and not again when they were up to bat.
Wow.
Till the next batter came up.
Would the players give you their favorite songs, or did you even ask them?
There were a few of them that did. And there was a few that Kevin, what was his last name?
Kevin Brown?
Yeah, he didn't like Pirates of the Caribbean because he said I was giving the Pirates music instead of the Dodgers. So I couldn't play that while he was there.
All right. You've got some fun stories about the Dodger players. One of them was the night that Matt Kemp was playing in the outfield with Juan Uribe, and Matt yelled at Juan.
Nancy Bea is here, and boy, Juan came running in, Miss B, Miss B, Miss B, Miss B. He apparently was a fan.
Oh, wonderful.
Guy.
And another player named Juan Pierre, would like to talk with you a lot, wouldn't he?
Right. I had a few that Matt would yell wherever he saw me, and make a big to-do about it.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I never thought they paid any attention to the fact I was there.
Right, but they did. Well, would you leave the stadium after playing Take Me Out to the Ballpark? Was it the top of the seventh inning or the bottom of the seventh inning?
It was middle. Yeah.
Middle.
Yeah, the the opposing team had been up, and it was the break in between.
Yeah.
And
but would you and Bill leave the ballpark at that time?
After 20-some years. I stayed the whole time up to about 20 years of it. And then we said, you know, the traffic is so bad, we're getting up in age and it's becoming difficult. And so we made a deal where I left after that.
Do you remember the night where the longest game was played while you were behind the organ?
I do. I don't think Bill was with me that night. He was supposed to be taking an organ for me to Pomona Fairgrounds for me to start the show there the next day or so. Yeah, we had some long nights when we were younger.
Yeah.
Bill was a good hand.
Yeah.
He was.
But you got a game like 15 or 16 innings, huh?
Right. Take me out to the ball game twice. 7th and 14th innings.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Nancy B., there came a very unhappy time for you and your job, and in the last few years, your playing time diminished. Instead of playing maybe 50 songs during a game, you were told to cut it to 3 or 4,
Right.
at a maximum of 5 minutes. No more music when a Dodger hit a home run, and stay off the organ, Nancy B., when there are pitching changes. Someone in the Dodger front office wanted hip hop and rock music, presumably to please the younger crowd. What did you do when it became unbearable?
I retired. I took so much of it and I said, that's it. That's why I was offered to come and just play weekends, just to do special events, just to come play, take me out to the ball game. And I said, no, time to leave.
And
Time
you
to
announced
retire.
that, didn't you announce that on social media first, that you weren't coming
I
back?
just kind of mentioned it. I didn't really make an announcement, but it went viral.
Well, it did go viral. The Dodger fans came to your defense through social media and other sources, displayed their anger, and management relented and offered you a lifetime contract.
Right. And you read the small print.
Wow.
But you know, we had, when I thought I was going to retire back in 2005, we had bought our property here and put a house on the property. So we were living in California half of the year and here half of the year. We hadn't really gotten used to our home here, and it was time to come and relax. And we had one real good year of Bill being healthy and me healthy at the same time. And then health went downhill.
Well, here you are with Sandy Koufax. That's got to be
Oh, yes.
special.
Yeah, you know, that's the first time I ever met him.
Really?
All those years.
Wow.
First time, yeah.
Well, so your last year at Dodger Stadium was 2015. I would think the one factor was to eliminate all that travel from your home in Nevada. What was the distance for you to Dodger Stadium?
450 miles.
Wow.
So
did you rent a place in Los Angeles during
yes,
this?
yes. So we had double expenses. So that became part of the
Did you go home if the Dodgers had a road trip of, say, a week later?
Only if it was 10 days. A week would take a day to get home and a day to recover from traveling all day. And then usually we had doctor's office visits and that. And then a day back and a day to recover and then back to work. So a week wasn't really long enough.
There you are with your bobblehead doll.
Yeah, yeah.
They gave you that, what, the last, when did they put that out?
The Dodgers didn't put that out.
Didn't they?
Party. No, a private party did that.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Have you gone back to Dodger Stadium to make a guest appearance at any time?
No, I've never been invited back. I went back, we went back in 2016 for one game. And then we went to go back in 2017. And there were some manipulations and we said, well, forget it. So I haven't been back since then.
Mm. And Lon Rosen told you, you're always welcome to come back and we'll invite you back for guest appearances, but no.
Yes, famous last words.
Do you ever visit Los Angeles?
No, actually, I don't do any traveling now.
Yeah.
Age has a way of taking hold of you.
There's your number up there. We're at 80, 88, of course, be the first year there.
That
And,
was the year my first year.
yeah, and the World Series championship.
Right.
The same year.
That was up at Felipe's restaurant on their wall.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Nancy B., how delightful this has been to share time with you. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Can't think of anything. I enjoyed my time there, and Bill just in seventh heaven, being a Dodger fan all his life. It was the thrill of his life.
And there's your family with you.
Right.
They
right,
honored you the very last night.
right.
That had to be special.
That was very special.
What'd you have, 4 children?
Yes.
4
And
children.
I have 5 grandchildren, and I just had my great granddaughter
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh,
2 weeks ago.
wonderful.
Yeah.
You look great.
Oh, you look pretty good too.
Uh,
I think we're about the same age. I don't know. I might be.
do you want to divulge your age and I'll divulge
don't
mine, or
mind.
should we keep that secret?
No, I don't care.
How
I
old
tell
are you?
everybody now that I'm not there, I don't care.
All
When
right.
I was playing, I didn't tell. I'm 86.
And I'm 83.
See, you got 3 years. I have 3 years on you.
And Lynn, who loves you, my wife, was 81 yesterday.
She's a sweetheart. You did very well when you got Lynn.
Thank
I
you.
hope you know that.
In June, we will have been married 61 years.
Right. We were
Mhm.
married 62 before Bill went to a better place.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
We'll
he
be
was a
3
wonderful
years,
man.
3 years and a week before that he's been gone.
Wow.
So,
Well, we began this conversation with Nancy B. at the organ, and we would like to end it the same way, enjoying more of her music. Dear, keep well and keep in touch, and thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the 7th inning stretch, accompanied by Nancy B. at the Dodger Stadium Roland organ. Let's all sing, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."